Okay, let's make that in After Effects using Element 3D. Let's go.
Okay, now in After Effects, the first thing we're gonna do is create a new composition. Full HD. Now we're gonna be creating a new solid layer. We're gonna be naming this E3D for organization sake, and we're gonna be applying element 3D to this layer. Element, and here we go. For the sake of this video and for this particular scene to be responsive, I'm gonna be making a very small scene just to show and demonstrate the idea and the method in which you can create this particular effect, right? So I'm not going to be creating anything crazy, just a simple scene just to pass the message across on how the whole effect works, right? For that, we're just going to go into the element 3D scene setup. And one major thing that is going to make this actually work is the ultimate vegetation pack. If you don't have it, you should get it. I've already made collected some of the assets. You have some grass and some flowers, and this is what we're going to be using to create this. And also I need to point out that if this was if this was all we got, it's actually not gonna work as much. I'm gonna be demonstrating that in a few minutes. So what actually makes this effect work is the fact that it grows. There's an animation of it growing, you know, makes it all come together. Let me just show you what I mean by that, which is the largest here. This, yeah, that's the largest. Let me just show you the growth effect I'm talking about. But take it down, you see, but take it up, it has a growing animation to it. So with the tutorial I'm about to teach you now, just makes the effect come together, right? So we're gonna use all this, and then we're gonna create a group 2 layer, drag it out, and we're gonna of course make this group 2. And in this group 2, we're gonna be creating a plane. Just click on the plane, and we're gonna be making this as large as possible, just as large as you can get it. Just make sure it's like larger than, just as large as possible. And the reason why we're doing this is because we want to make this plane a shadow cacher. If you know what I mean. What that means is this is not going to be visible in the scene, but it's just going to cache the shadows of the grass, and and also be transparent. And that's what I'm going for. And in order for us to make this the shadow cacher, what we're going to do is we're going to go down to the material, and we're gonna go to matte shadow, and we're gonna click it, and as you can see, it just disappears, right? It's there, but the effect is just gonna make it just cache the shadow. So okay, I think that will be all for now. Let's go back to After Effects, and as we can see our grass, and you cannot see the plane right now because yeah, the effect is already going on, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. But before we do, we're going to be going into group 1. Remember, group 1 is where the grass and the flowers are. So we're just going to create group null, and also we're going to be creating a camera. Just gonna make it 28 millimeters is okay. Okay, what I like to do most of the time is create a null for the camera, because for some reason I just like to control the camera with the null. So what I do is I create a null. I'll make it 2D by clicking on this stuff, and then I'm just gonna parent the camera to the null, and then I click on P for position of the null, and when I increase the Z position, you see the camera just works. So for some reason I prefer to do that than just clicking P on the camera itself, and all that. People say I do too much by doing that, but I don't know. So what we're gonna do now, moving on, is we'll go into the element 3D layer, and we're gonna go into the group 1 again. We're gonna go into the particle replicator, and we're just gonna, for responsiveness sake, we're just gonna make this 20, and we're gonna go into the replicator shape. If you open this, you see it's called replicator shape, and then we're just gonna make it plain, as you can see. So what we're gonna do in order for us to see this properly is go into our camera null. Remember, this is the camera null. I just rename it C null, camera null, and we're just gonna click arrow for rotation, and we'll go into the arrow X rotation and just rotate it so we see what we're doing. P, so we can bring it up for visibility, and just take the camera back a little bit and just position this just so we see what we're doing. And I think it's just fine right there. Now what I like to do is, as you can see, it's just uniform, right? It's just like too uniform for my liking, and I also like to spread this out a little bit. So let's spread this out a little bit first. In order for us to be able to spread this out, we'll go down to scale XYZ in group 1, and we'll go to the Z to increase it. Yep, and let's just leave it here, and then to the X also sides, we just increase that a little bit too. I think it's okay. Now as you can see, now the uniformity is just like obvious now. So in order for me, what I normally do to randomize it a bit is I just go to particle look, and I go to particle rotation, and I just go to randomize angle first, and I just increase the X rotation. And as I do that, you would see that each of the plants and grass and flowers are now facing different direction, randomizing it a little bit. The after, before, after. See, that helped to just make it look a little bit randomized. And I think that would be okay for now. But to go a little bit further, I like to go to the scatter too, and just scatter the Z position too. This helps to like just randomize, like make it more, just randomize it more, right? This is actually really good when you're making a very massive scene. So and when the grasses are growing, it's really dynamic. But anyways, this is just fine for now, and we're just gonna close this. And now we're talking about the shadows and everything, let's create a light in order for us to be able to see the shadows and show you understand why we created the plane group 2 in the first place. Light, I'm gonna use spotlight. I'm just gonna make this on 200 bright light, and we're just gonna click on OK. And most of the time I find that the lights are never in the position that I want them to be. So what I normally do is I go into the view and make it 2 views, and as you can see now I have 2 views, and I can change the camera position and everything in this view, and it will not affect this one. So in order for me to be able to move around, I just click on C. It brings up this rotating looking icon, and it does exactly that. It helps to rotate the camera for this view. And if you click C one more time, it makes it look like this cross looking stuff, and that is to move the camera also. And if you click it for the 3rd time, this is to zoom in and out into the camera. So with that, I can be able to position this light. So what I want is for the light to be coming from this direction down here in order for the shadows to be going into this direction. So what I would do is just go to the pick tool and just take the camera and just rotate the camera a little bit so I see what I'm doing. And take my camera here and zoom out a little bit. Just drag the out so it envelopes everything. And yeah, I think that's okay. I'm just gonna increase the cone angle just for it to just capture everything more. And I'll go back to my one view. As you can see, our shadows are not visible still. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the element 3D layer. We're gonna go into the render settings and to shadows, and we're gonna enable it. And when we enable it, we're gonna see our dark shadows. Oh my god. So now, as you can see, for me, I do not like the shadows I'm seeing. So what we're gonna do is, first of all, the shadows are just too long, so I'm just gonna go back to my 2 view and raise. I believe it's because the light is down too much, so I'm just gonna raise the light up a little bit to cut that shadow out. Yeah, a little better. But also I'm also going to go into the light, and I'm going to decrease the darkness of the shadow, like the shadow darkness. I'm just going to decrease it a little bit. It's just too dark. And okay, and I think this is just fine. And just for the transparency thing to go away, I'm just going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to make this white. And I'm just going to name this BG for background. I'm just going to bring it down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a gradient ramp and apply it to this layer, gradient ramp effect. And I'm just going to make this quickly yellow, dark yellow. Just dark yellow and very light yellow. Just adjust this a little bit. I think it's okay, just so we see the shadow and it looks a little bit appealing. to the eye. And now we'll set this up. Now let's go to the growing part. So the first thing that we're gonna do to create the effect, as you can see there, it's animated. What we're gonna do to create this effect is we're just gonna go into the element 3D. There's so many people don't know this, but there's an option in element called the output option. And if you go to the show option, you go to composite, you go to award position, it gives you like a 3D mat, right? 3D Z mat that you can animate also. So what that means is, if I make this a mat and also duplicate it and make it a track mat of this, where there's white is going to be visible and where there's black is going to be not visible. So if I animate the Z position, it's just gonna reveal with the white showing and the white revealing and the black, not revealing. It's just gonna show and just reveal it. That's what gives the growing effect. And let's just do this, right? So I'm just gonna start from nothing, animate from here, and just go to like 5 seconds. I'm just gonna increase it till it shows everything, and that's it. And if we go into the element 3D layer and click U, you're gonna see the keyframes, right? And it's just gonna reveal. So what we're gonna do is, as we've done that, we're gonna duplicate the element 3D layer, and we're gonna rename the top one. We're gonna name it E3D mat, just for organization's sake, so we don't get confused. And then we're gonna go to the bottom one, and we're gonna go into the output, and we're gonna change this back to composite, right? So we see our scene comes back to the way it is. So we're just gonna hide the map, so we're just gonna see that our scene is the way it is. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna make this a track mat to this. So how we're gonna do that is we're gonna toggle this toggle switches. We're just gonna toggle it till it's like this, and then we're gonna go to the track mat, and we're gonna make it Luma mat, and immediately you see that it just cuts some part off, and that is the dark part, right? And we're just gonna run a quick run preview. Now there's nothing. So the way we animated it is it just moves from nothing to revealing everything. That gives the growth illusion, right? So let's just do a short run preview and we'll see what we've got. Okay, so our run preview is ready, so let's just scoop through so you see what we've got. Boom. And that's the reveal animation, and that's how we get it. But as you can see, as I told you guys in the beginning, that like this doesn't really look all that good, right? So in order for us to make it more dynamic, the grasses needs to like grow too, right? Like it needs to show that it's growing in order for it to look like it's actually like growing, right? And that's where this pack is actually really good for, because there's the animation of it growing, like I showed you guys earlier, is there, so it actually adds to it. So let's just go back into element. Let's just stop this for a moment. Let's just go back into element scene setup, and what we're gonna do, we're going to go into the group one where all the grasses are. And now we're going to take all this animation back to 1, because we made it like this in order for us to be able to set things up. Now let's just take it back to 1. Okay, now everything is back to one. Let's just push it down a little bit. Okay. All right. Now, also what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into uh group one. Also, we're gonna go also into particle look, and then we're gonna go down to baked animation. And for baked animation, we're gonna do something, right? We're gonna increase this offset random, and what this is gonna do is gonna make each of the grasses grow like on like different pace, and that's also gonna add to the dynamism of how it grows, right? So we're gonna be increasing this to, let's just say, 20, nothing too crazy. And also because of how short we made this reveal to be, we're going to be increasing the growth animation too. We're just going to increase this to 150 for now, and we're going to do a quick run preview, and let's see what we have got. And the run preview is ready, so let's see what we've got. And that is it, and that is how you do the growth effect. And that's it. That is the overall concept. And just to remind us, you would have to go into both of the element 2D layer to bring the animation of the grass back to 1. So don't forget that. I think I did that off camera. So that's it, and with a little bit of work you can get it going, and you can do a lot of things with the effect and some things like this. Alright, and this will be the end of this tutorial. Please, this is a new channel. I'm still navigating my way, so just leave a like and also subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.